Alright. Welcome, Vikings. We've made it to Valhalla. Right, Tyler? Alright, we got back over here. And down there is the lake area. We're gonna go in and say hi.
All right, we are back again. Back from another 2-week hiatus. As I mentioned in the last video, I went on another little trip. This one was a little different though, because my last trip was like a vacation and such. This was also kind of a vacation, but it was specifically focused around wargaming. Me and friend and patron of the show, Mr. Captain Fox, went to an event in Heber City, Utah called Valhalla. This is not a huge event by any means, but it was a lot of fun. There was probably like 30 or so people there for reference, for size. So a brief rundown of what Valhalla is. It's an annual tabletop gaming retreat in Heber City, Utah. And it's held in this like really cool, like big old like ski lodge type thing. Where there's a bunch of folks, they come together and they play all kinds of different tabletop games and board games. And it's a lot of fun. It's a whole week of this. So there's two ways you can go about attending the gathering. One is to actually stay on site at this lodge, and there's like varying options in terms of like sleep arrangements. You know, you can get like a private suite or be like in one of the bunk rooms. The other option, and this is what we did when we went, was to stay off site. We stayed like in an Airbnb. And then you have a pass to come to the house and hang out and just game each day. So both ways came with, you know, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all kinds of snacks and good times to enjoy. Now, our primary purpose for going was to check out the event and see what it was like and like how it ran, and of course, you know, play some tabletop games. When it came to the games, we played in a bolt action campaign. The campaign was super casual and the furthest thing from competitive, and it was just a lot of fun. It was our first time playing through 3rd edition bolt action, so we were just there to like learn and have fun. Everyone was super friendly and helpful when it came to helping like understand the game. And since it was like the new edition, everyone was sort of just digging around in the rule books, like looking stuff up the whole time. It was cool. It was fun in that way to be like learning all together and just like rolling dice. The campaign was the first 3 days of the event, and it gave me like a good feel of the game, and has had me like thinking about the game a lot in retrospect. It's such a fun and simple combat system, and I feel like there's just enough nuance there and like complexity like to keep it interesting, but it doesn't like pull you out of the game. I think like the flattened out stats and like the random activation dice draw, it keeps the game from feeling too crazy in terms of like really like feel bad moments, and it makes the game, like I said, it keeps it more interesting and more back and forth, or sometimes more one-sided. I had a lot of fun learning the game, and I'm excited to keep playing it. And I got a bunch of free models while I was there too, so I have a really good head start. The following day and the final day, after all the bolt action campaign, me and Captain Fox, we played a game of 40K, and that was an interesting experience in contrast. I brought my Tyranids, and then Captain Fox had his Rowan Deepers, and unfortunately for Mr. Fox, the Utah air was allowing my dice to roll way too well, and there was a devastating Gene Stealer Von Ryan Leaper fucking blender that absolutely sprinted across the board and decimated everything they came into contact with. This game was kind of brutal and one-sided, and kind of not fun because of it. But it was good for giving me context about what makes a game fun, especially in light of having played bolt action for 3 days prior. This is, of course, subjective, and it varies depending on what type of game you like, what type of gaming experience you like. But I think what I mentioned about bolt action being like kind of flattened out in the combat system and the dice rolls is key to what makes it such a balanced feeling and fun game. But all that said, it seemed as soon as the event started, it was over. And the last day came way too fast. So the first 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we did the bolt action campaign. Thursday, played 40K. And then that day we had like kind of like an awards thing at lunch, and it was for those that competed in the bolt action campaign, and they gave out a bunch of free models and thanked everybody for participating. And that's actually where I got my my bolt action, my little U.S. starter kit. Got the U.S. Airborne troops, and then Captain Fox got the U.S. Heavy Weapons team, but he has a ton of stuff already, so he just gave that to me to build up my force. And this is going to be good, obviously, for getting into bolt action further, but also for Conflict 47, which they'll be doing a campaign for next year at Valhalla. So in Conflict is like a sci-fi spin on bolt action, you know, with like mechs and walkers and like cool sci-fi weapons. And there's even more like fantastical stuff like zombies, werebears, werewolves. Yeah, it's pretty cool and goofy, and I'm pretty excited for it. Valhalla was a special event to go to, and it was held in an exceptionally like beautiful location, which was a challenge in and of itself. You know, we were at elevation, it was dry air, and you know, you get winded pretty easily going upstairs. But yeah, all the folks putting the event on, and all the folks that were attending, they were all super friendly and enjoyable to be around. And I think the only thing I would want to do differently maybe is stay on site. And this would just purely to be like, you know, have the fullness of the communal part of it, and ultimately to play more games, you know. But I feel like that's kind of a double-edged sword too, because it was super nice each day to be able to go back to the Airbnb and like chill out in the quiet and dissociate for a while. And it was nice too because our wives came with us, and they were able to, you know, stay behind, do their own thing, and because neither of them are wargamers. But that was Valhalla for me. A few shout outs, you know, I want to say thank you to Mr. Captain Fox for making the trip happen for us and getting us there in the Airbnb. It was awesome. And thank you for loaning me a bunch of U.S. troopies to throw down in the campaign. And also to Miranda, the Wargamer girl, who was one of the organizers for the event, and also my opponent in the second game of the campaign, playing as the Russians. And then also generally just like to all the homies there that were super helpful and patient with teaching the game and the rules, like and answering questions. Raymond and Ruben, Kyle, I can't remember his name, but there was this really cool British fella there who was super helpful and fun to have around and talk to. So yeah, just thank you all for making it the experience that it was. I had an awesome time, and I was definitely bummed when it came to an end, but I'm excited for more next year. But now we're back home and we are back at it. You know, it was fun to do all these different travels, you know, when I go into Japan, Utah, but it is definitely taxing, and it feels good to be back. I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed with, you know, my projects and desires for projects. You know, I currently have a few projects I'm working on and have been working on for a while, and then some new ones that are like recent adds, and I have some finished projects that I'm reinvigorating and bolstering. And just like to list off some of them, I've got the 30k Death Guard, the 40k Death Guard, that's the one I'm going to be bolstering and fattening up. I've got the US Army for bolt action and conflict. I got my 40k Orcs, some Talarn Desert Raiders gradually being built up. And finally, I'm going to be painting some Gundams. I'm currently painting the Tall Geese, and it's definitely a different experience than painting Warhammer miniatures. Not Warhammer, but Wargaming miniatures. But I'll get into that next video. But that's going to be it for me for now. I hope you enjoyed the brief recap of the 2025 Valhalla event. If you did, be sure to give the video a like, and, you know, let me know what you think of this type of event down in the comments. And if you were there at the event, let me know what you thought, and, you know, like, what was your favorite part? You know, my favorite part, I think, was the sense of camaraderie over just gaming together and learning new things as we went along. It was an excellent time. If you enjoyed this video and you're interested in following along with my hobby journey, be sure to subscribe for more. You know, when I'm not traveling around a bunch, I put out a weekly video every Monday that follows my hobby doings, along with the occasional existential thought and or crisis. It's a good time, you know. But that is it for me for now. We'll see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great day. Peace. are 7 dice. Today's numbers are: on the D20, 19. On the D12, 6. On the D10, 5. On the percentage die, 50. On the D8, 4. On the D6, 2. And on the D4, 2. Those are today's numbers. Robin Hood and Little John are walking through the forest, and jumping fences, dodging trees, trying to get away. Oodle-lotty, golly, what a day. Reminiscing this and that, having such a good time. Escaping. And now I haven't written any more. So now we'll stop recording and write.
All right, here we are. Day 3, Valhalla game. It's basically the American Revolutionary War being refought over the sub pens to see who's going to control the future of the tea in Boston Harbor.